The peace table that never came. The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with light, yet the air inside felt heavy. Dozens of alien delegates sat around a long silver table, their voices sharp, their eyes cold. They had gathered to meet with humanity, expecting easy words and weak promises. To them, humans were still newcomers, a young race that had only touched the stars a few centuries ago. The aliens whispered to each other, mocking the human ships, mocking their numbers, mocking their lack of ancient power. At the far end of the chamber stood the human envoy, a tall man in a plain black uniform. He spoke no words, his face calm, his eyes steady. The aliens grew impatient, their laughter echoing in the grand hall. "Humans will beg. They always beg," muttered a scaled ambassador with glowing yellow eyes. "They will trade their freedom for survival," hissed another, her voice sharp like glass. Yet the human envoy remained silent on the walls above. Massive banners of alien empires hung heavy, each symbol a reminder of conquest and control. The council expected the humans to bow under that weight. But the envoy stood unmoved, his silence more dangerous than any speech. Finally, the head of the council rose, a towering figure with 4 arms and a voice that thundered through the chamber. "You humans were given this chance to talk, to kneel, to prove you understand your place," the leader growled. "This council offers mercy, surrender now, and you may keep your planet as a farm for our needs." The aliens laughed again, slamming their hands, claws, and tendrils on the table. The sound shook the room, but the envoy did not flinch. When he finally spoke, his words were soft, yet they carried across the hall like a blade cutting air. "You mistake silence for fear and patience for weakness," he said slowly. "We did not come to kneel." The laughter stopped. A sudden stillness filled the chamber. The aliens leaned closer, confused by his tone. It was not the voice of a defeated people, but the calm of someone holding a secret. A small alien delegate, covered in fur and trembling, whispered to her neighbor, "Do you think it is true, the rumor? The stories of their forbidden warship?" Her words were hushed, but the humans heard them. The envoy's eyes flickered for a moment, as if confirming something without saying it. And that silence was heavier than any threat. The council leader slammed a fist on the table, breaking the moment. "Enough of games," he roared. "You will sign this treaty now, or the fleets of the galaxy will burn your worlds. Every one of them." The silver document glowed in front of the envoy, its letters a chain waiting to be locked. But the envoy did not touch it. Instead, he raised his head, looking at every alien eye in the room. Then he spoke again, his voice quiet, steady, and cold. "You were warned. Do not ask again." The room grew tense, the weight of his words pressing like gravity. The council leader snarled, "Are you threatening us, human? Do you think your small fleets can stand against the great powers of this galaxy?" The delegates laughed again, but now the laughter was hollow, for something in the humans' gaze made their skin crawl. Outside the station, hidden in the void, a shadow stirred. It was unseen by the council, unseen by their watchers, unseen even by their advanced sensors, but the humans knew. The terror ship waited, cloaked in silence, its hull vast as a moon. Stories had called it myth, a legend of war, a nightmare that shook even the bravest captains, but legends, like shadows, have roots in truth. The envoy spoke once more. "We did not come here to talk," he said, and then he fell silent again. His words echoed in the council chamber. Bouncing off the silver walls, the aliens shifted uncomfortably, their earlier confidence fading, because deep down, each of them knew. No race stays silent unless it holds a weapon that speaks louder than words. The meeting ended with no treaty, no agreement, no peace. Instead, it ended with a warning, and beyond the stars, the terror ship of humanity waited for the command. A ship not built for talk, but for memory. A ship built to remind the galaxy why humans were not to be mocked. Why silence could be more terrifying than any roar. The council thought they had come for peace, but peace was never on the table. The terror ship was already awake, and soon, the stars themselves would remember. Whispers of the terror ship. The council chamber had emptied, but the echoes of the human envoy's words clung to the walls like ghosts. Outside, across the stars, whispers began to spread through alien fleets and stations. One phrase carried on every transmission, through every encrypted channel, the terror ship. Among the alien captains waiting near the edge of the system, rumors grew louder. Some called it a myth, a story invented by humans to scare children of the galaxy. Others swore it was real, that they had seen flashes of its power in forgotten battles. In dark corners of space, the story was told in fear. A single human ship that had shattered armadas and left only silence behind. In the command deck of a reptilian dreadnought, a captain laughed. Fools believe in shadows, he sneered, his fangs catching the light. Humans have no such ship. They barely hold their small colonies. But even as he laughed, his second officer shifted uneasily. For deep in her memory, she recalled a battle long ago. A fleet of her people had vanished, leaving no wreckage. No signals, no survivors, only silence. And silence always had a name. Far away on the human flagship, hidden in the void, Admiral Cade stood before a black window. The stars reflected in his eyes, sharp and cold. Behind him, crew members worked in silence. Their hands steady, their voices calm, no one spoke of fear. Because fear had no place aboard this ship. They had been chosen not just as soldiers, but as keepers of a message. A message that would not be written in treaties, but carved into the memory of galaxies. The terror ship itself was a nightmare made real. Its hull layered with dark alloy that swallowed light. Its weapons were not shown on scanners, yet every barrel was primed. Its engines hummed like the heartbeat of a predator. And in its core, ancient human designs mixed with secrets stolen from alien wars. It was not only a weapon, it was a warning. A reminder that humanity learned from every enemy, and turned every loss into fire. In hidden corners of alien marketplaces, smugglers traded data fragments, grainy images of a massive silhouette blotting out starlight, snippets of wreckage from fleets that had never returned. And on every world, the story was told the same. When the terror ship arrives, silence follows. Inside the council's private chamber, the leaders argued. Some demanded that humanity be crushed before their ship could appear. Others whispered caution, their voices trembling. What if the stories are true? One elder asked, her skin pale with fear. What if they unleash it here? But pride is a heavy chain, and most chose to wear it. No race so young can hold such power, they insisted. We will break them, and then the galaxy will laugh. Yet outside, in the vast sea of stars, silence grew heavier. Alien scouts sent to track the human fleets returned with nothing. Their sensors showed empty void, yet transmissions crackled with strange distortions, like something vast was moving, unseen, patient. Even the bravest captains began to wonder, was silence itself the shadow of the terror ship? Back aboard the human vessel, Admiral Cade finally spoke to his officers. The council believes we came for peace, he said, his voice calm. But peace is only given to those who respect strength. He turned to the massive holographic table in front of him, where the enemy fleets glowed red. We will not strike first, but when they do, the galaxy will remember. The crew nodded without a word. They were not eager, they were not reckless. They were steady, like stone waiting for the storm. Every man and woman aboard the ship understood their purpose. They were not here for glory, they were here for memory. In the darkness between stars, whispers turned into fear. Captains hesitated to fire. Scouts hesitated to report. And though the galaxy mocked humanity with words, no one could laugh in silence. Because silence meant the terror ship was listening. The broken promise the Galactic Council had promised a table of peace. But peace was never truly offered. Behind their glowing banners and long speeches, there was only one demand, human surrender. When the human envoy returned to the chamber, the treaty still lay on the silver table. Untouched, the alien leaders leaned forward, their eyes burning with pride. They believed the humans had no choice but to bend. The council leader spread his forearms wide and spoke with thunder. Sign this, and your world will be spared destruction, refuse, and your kind will be dust. The words were sharp, meant to break the spirit of the envoy. But the human did not move, his face calm, his hands still. Only his eyes, steady and cold, seemed to cut through the noise of the room. A smaller delegate with wings folded close, leaned to his neighbor and whispered, Why do they delay? Why do humans not answer? Do they believe they have a weapon against us? The words were quiet, but the whisper carried fear. The envoy tilted his head slightly as if hearing it, and his silence deepened the unease. The reptilian ambassador slammed his claw on the table. Enough of these games, we offer them survival. And they insult us with silence, another delegate hissed. Break their fleets, burn their colonies. Let them learn fear. The room filled with agreement, voices rising like a storm, yet one old council member trembled and muttered, Be careful, silence is not always weakness. Sometimes it is the step before thunder, but pride drowned wisdom. The council leader turned to the human and spat the words like poison. You are a young race. You do not know the weight of war. You will kneel, or you will vanish. He pushed the glowing treaty closer. The symbols of surrender shimmered on its surface. Chains dressed as words, the envoy finally spoke. His voice low, his words measured. Humanity made a promise long ago, he said. A promise that we would never kneel again. The chamber fell into silence, a silence sharper than any weapon. The alien leaders stared, some in shock, some in rage. Then the envoy added with calm finality. This council has broken its own promise of peace. Now we will keep ours, gasps spread through the chamber. The reptilian ambassador sneered, his teeth bared. Empty words. Humans have no power here. But his laughter faltered when the envoy raised his hand. Activating a small device on the table, the silver walls shimmered, and a single image appeared in the center of the chamber. It was not a fleet, not a weapon they could recognize. It was a shadow, vast, endless, blotting out stars. The shape of a ship too large, too silent, too real. The alien delegates leaned back in their seats, their faces pale. Some hissed, some cursed, some trembled. The old council member whispered only one word. Terror. The envoy deactivated the image. His voice still calm. You were warned, he repeated. Do not mistake patience for weakness. Then he stepped back, refusing the treaty with a simple gesture. No further words were needed, for the broken promise now hung heavy in the air. The council leader roared in fury. Enough, we will burn your fleets. We will scatter your people across the void. He slammed his fists down. Shaking the table, the other delegates joined. Their voices filled with rage outside the chamber. Alien war fleets received their orders. Engines roaring to life, the void lit up with movement. Thousands of ships preparing to strike, but still, the human envoy stood calm. He looked at the leaders one final time and said, History does not remember those who demand surrender. It remembers those who remind the stars of fear. Then he turned and walked away, his footsteps echoing in the great hall like the toll of a bell. The council thought victory was already theirs. They believed they had broken humanity. But in truth, they had only broken the mask. And behind that mask waited the terror ship. Silent, patient, ready, the promise of peace was gone. The promise of fear was about to begin. The terror awakens beyond the council chambers. In the cold emptiness of space, a shadow began to stir. It moved silently, slower than light, yet heavier than any fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Alien scouts tried to trace it. Sensors screamed with interference. Alarms blared across distant command decks, but nothing could locate it, nothing could predict it. The terror ship had awakened, and the galaxy would learn its name. From the bridge of the human flagship, Admiral Cade observed the alien fleets gathering below. Stars reflected in his eyes like scattered diamonds. He said nothing, only nodded to his officers. Each motion precise, every hand aboard the ship knew its place. Every mind ready for the moment. They were not eager, they were prepared. Patience as deadly as any weapon, then without warning. The terror ship emerged from a fold in space. Its hull vast as a moon, black as the void itself. Light bent around it, sensors failed, and the alien fleets froze. Some ships trembled in orbit, their shields flickering in confusion. The council leaders gasped, their eyes wide as they finally understood. The humans had not bluffed. They had built a weapon of legend. A ship whispered in nightmares. The vessel moved with quiet authority, engines humming low like the heartbeat of a predator. Cannons lined its sides, larger than any battleship the aliens had ever seen. Its silhouette swallowed distant stars, its presence alone bending the minds of observers on the council station. Every alien leader felt a cold weight in their chest. Whispers began, broken voices muttering the word no one wanted to speak. The terror ship. A lieutenant on a reptilian dreadnought stammered into a comm. Captain, is that even real? The captain's jaw clenched, his pride cracking. Impossible. Humans cannot. This size. His words faltered as the terror ship drifted closer, silent, patient, unstoppable. Inside the human ship, Admiral Cade raised a hand. The terror ship's weapons lit not with fury but with intent. A single light blinked across the void. A warning more powerful than fleet's alien commanders froze. Sensors screaming, comms jamming. Every fleet in the system knew the humans had arrived. Not to negotiate, not to beg, not to surrender, but to remind the galaxy what fear felt like. The first of the alien battleships turned toward the terror ship. Weapons raised, but even as they fired, the shells evaporated in the void. The humans had learned the language of fear, the language of war beyond sight, and the terror ship answered with silence, a silence louder than explosions. Council delegates screamed at their screens, panic spreading like wildfire. This cannot be, cried the furred ambassador. We control the stars, we command fleets, we... Her words broke as the shadow of the terror ship eclipsed her view. Every surface, every screen, every sensor displayed the impossible. The humans were here and their wrath had form. Admiral Cade finally spoke, his voice calm as ever. Do not mistake our patience for weakness, he said. The terror ship awakens, and this galaxy will remember its name. The lights of the alien fleets flickered again. Shields overloading, ships veered from formation. Commanders shouting orders that could not be obeyed. Chaos spread like a virus through the Council's ranks. And yet the humans remained steady, silent as the void itself. The terror ship loomed over the Council's fleets, a black monolith of warning. It did not fire yet, it did not move to destroy. Its presence alone shattered confidence, mocked pride and fed fear. The galaxy had been warned. And the first lesson of humanity's power had begun. Silence stretched over the void, broken only by the trembling of alien voices. The terror ship waited, patient, perfect, unstoppable. And the Council realized too late, peace had died the moment the humans arrived. And nothing in the stars could undo what had awakened. Fire across the stars, the void had never been this silent. Every alien fleet stared at the terror ship, frozen in awe and fear. Then, without warning, a pulse of light ripped across the darkness. The first salvo of the terror ship, precise, unstoppable, overwhelming. Shields flared and shattered, energy fields dissolving like mist. Alien dreadnoughts screamed as their weapons melted under the assault. Entire squadrons vanished in seconds, leaving only floating debris. Comms erupted with panic, orders shouted into chaos. No formation, no plan, retreat. We cannot survive this. On a bridge of one alien flagship, a captain banged his claw on the console. Stop them! Fire everything! They cannot... A sudden explosion tore through the hull before he could finish. He was thrown across the room, unconscious outside. The stars themselves seemed to shiver under the terror ship's attack. The human fleet remained calm behind the terror ship. They did not fire yet, but their presence amplified the horror. The alien fleets realized too late that every movement had been predicted. Every angle calculated, they were trapped. Like prey before a predator. And the predator did not hesitate. Another volley cut through the center of the Council's fleet. Ships that had once mocked humanity were now twisted wrecks. Engines failed, weapons offline, crew screaming into silence. The Council leaders banged on their consoles, their claws trembling. Impossible. This cannot happen. But it was happening and no force could stop it. From the command deck of the terror ship, Admiral Cade observed the destruction. His face calm, his eyes steady, he gave a small signal, and another wave of fire surged. Alien armadas disintegrated under precise energy beams. Explosions lit the void like deadly stars, each shot a reminder of humanity's patience, of their learning, of their wrath in the chaos. Whispers spread among surviving alien officers. Do they have 1,000 ships hidden? 100? No. Impossible. Their fear grew as fleets fell, one after another. Even the bravest captains began to doubt the strength of their alliances, for they had never faced humans like this before. They had never seen patience turn into absolute power. On distant stations, delegates collapsed into panic. Reports of destruction reached every corner of the galaxy. The Council leader's forearms trembled, his face pale. They had underestimated humanity. They had expected negotiation, not annihilation. And now the galaxy knew the meaning of fear. The terror ship moved with silent authority. It did not need to chase, it did not need to fire continuously. Its presence alone commanded obedience. Destruction following wherever it passed, alien scouts tried to escape. But the ship's sensors tracked every move. Nothing could hide, nothing could survive. In the last moments of the attack, Admiral Cade spoke to his fleet. Cease fire for now, he said calmly. They must remember the lesson, not just feel it. And the terror ship hovered over the remains of the alien fleets, a black shadow of power, perfect and unstoppable. The first strike was complete. The galaxy had learned its place. And the humans were only beginning to remind the stars who truly ruled. The supreme warning, The alien fleets lay shattered across the void, their ships smoking, twisted, and broken. Smoke and sparks drifted through space like falling stars. The council chamber trembled as reports of destruction reached every corner. Leaders screamed into comms, their voices sharp with fear and disbelief. Every proud alien empire realized their arrogance had cost them dearly. Above the chaos, the terror ship hovered silently, vast and unmoving. Its hull swallowed light, a black monolith against the stars inside. Admiral Cade walked calmly through the bridge. Each officer knew the moment was critical. The lesson had been delivered with fire. Now the words must follow. A transmission lit up every surviving alien fleet. A single voice, calm and measured, yet carrying the weight of doom. I warned you, the galaxy has ears and humanity has patience. We do not come to negotiate, we do not come to bargain. Those who seek to test us must remember why the stars themselves fear us. The council leader's forearms shook, his claws gripping the console until sparks flew. He stared at the view screen, pale and silent. The words were not just warnings, they were declarations. Declarations that humanity had returned stronger than any enemy could imagine. That patience had its limits, and humanity's memory of injustice was long and sharp. Whispers spread through alien ranks, hushed voices trembling. They are not bluffing. Every fleet we have is gone. Do you see their calm? They do not panic, they are gods of war. Even the youngest officers felt their knees weaken. Fear rooted in them deeper than any weapon ever could. Admiral Cade raised his hand and the terror ship's sensors pulsed. A silent reminder that humanity's reach was everywhere. Not one corner of the system could hide. Not one fleet could escape. The galaxy had been marked, and the humans had delivered their supreme warning. It was not just destruction, it was memory, a warning engraved in the stars themselves. The council leaders realized their hubris had blinded them. They had thought humans were weak, negotiable, young, and inexperienced. But the truth was clear now. Humans waited, they learned, and they struck with precision no empire could match. One single ship had destroyed fleets, broken pride and spread fear, and still, it hovered silent as if asking, "Do you understand now?" The surviving aliens trembled, their eyes wide. No treaties could save them. No fleets could stop them. The humans had reminded the galaxy of one unchanging truth. Patience is not weakness, silence is not submission. And those who underestimate humanity pay with the stars themselves. Finally, Admiral Cade spoke, calm as the void. The galaxy will remember this day. Those who thought they could negotiate will remember the terror ship, and those who ignore us will learn the price. Every word resonated, echoing through every channel. A supreme warning that would linger long after the fires cooled. And then, as quietly as it had come, the terror ship withdrew, its engines folding space around it, leaving only shadow and fear. The galaxy stared, trembling, understanding that the humans had not come for mercy. They had come to remind every star, every fleet, and every council member that humanity was patient, precise, and deadly. Aftermath of fear. The void was quiet now, but the silence was heavy. Scattered alien fleets drifted, damaged and leaderless. The council stations glowed dimly. Alarms still echoing in empty halls. Leaders stared at their screens. Pale and trembling, they had expected negotiation, diplomacy, compromise. Instead, they had been shown a power beyond imagination. Word spread like wildfire across the galaxy. From the outer rim to the core worlds, whispers told of the terror ship, stories of fleets destroyed and moments of peace turned to ash. Even the bravest alien commanders spoke in hushed tones. Do not provoke the humans. Do not cross them, for they wait silently, and when they strike, entire systems vanish on the human flagship. Admiral Cade observed the aftermath, his eyes calm, his expression steady. The terror ship floated silently in orbit, a black sentinel among the stars. Crew members moved efficiently, checking systems, preparing for the next orders. There was no celebration, no cheer, only discipline and readiness. Victory was not theirs to boast, but theirs to remember. Reports arrived from surviving alien scouts. They told of fear spreading through distant empires, fleets breaking formation, alliances fracturing. The council had underestimated humanity. They had counted on fear to hold sway. They had misjudged patience as weakness. And now the galaxy trembled at the name of a single ship. Back on distant worlds, populations whispered in fear. Parents told their children the story of the humans who waited, of the ship that came not for negotiation, but for warning. It was a lesson in humility. in caution, in respect, for the stars themselves had witnessed the might of a patient, determined species, and every corner of the galaxy knew humanity was not to be mocked. Admiral Cade finally spoke to his bridge officers. The galaxy has learned its lesson. Let them remember what patience and power can achieve, he said. The terror ship shifted silently, folding space once more, its dark silhouette disappearing into the void, leaving only echoes and fear in the council chambers, leaders huddled in shame and terror, their fleets scattered, their pride broken. They had thought humans would beg, would negotiate, would submit. Instead, humanity had reminded them that words are empty without strength, and silence can be louder than the roar of 1,000 fleets. The galaxy would speak of this day for generations, of the humans who waited, who learned, and who struck with precision, of the terror ship that shadowed the stars, of the supreme warning that carved fear into the heart of every empire. Humanity had returned not as a weak race, but as a force the universe would never forget. And in the endless void, one truth remained clear: patience is not weakness, silence is not surrender, and those who ignore humanity's warning will pay with the stars themselves.